Good morning and welcome to the press conference on the occasion of the working visit of Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen. Herr Bundesminister, bitte.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Minister, dear Eli, dear friend, thank you for visiting Vienna for the first time in your capacity as Foreign Minister, and it's good to see you again. As I said at the beginning, long time no see. We were sitting together 2 days ago in Bratislava in the Slavkov 3 format with our Czech and Slovakian friends and colleagues. It's no exaggeration if I say, and I believe you would agree, that the relations between our two countries are at an all-time high. And 75 years after the State of Israel was founded, we are not only friends, we are strategic partners, and mentally and emotionally neighbors, which is even more important. And that is not self-evident, and I don't get tired repeating that. That is not self-evident given Austria's historic burden. And I'm grateful to my Israeli friends for making this development possible, but also I'm proud. I'm proud how the Austrian society, the Austrian public has changed, evolved, and developed over the last couple of years and decades, and is coming to terms with its own historical responsibility. And the most positive sign and proof of this development are actually the thousands of people, the 10,000s of people, you have to say, that recovered the Austrian citizenship, descendants of families who were brutally murdered, tortured, kicked out of their homes by the Nazi regime. And they show us that they place trust in the Austrian society, trust in the Austrian state. And alone from Israel, 10,300 people have reacquired the Austrian citizenship because they say they never lost it. They simply have to make an official démarche and then they get again the Austrian citizenship. And all in all, 21,300 people have become Austrian citizens. And that is for me the best sign of a human vote, you may say. It's an enrichment for society and the best guarantee that the notion never forget, never again stays alive. But our partnership is not looking only into the past. We want to shape our common future. And we have discussed today our strategic partnership. We are strengthening cooperation in research and innovation. We are developing a youth exchange program, and we are bringing our people closer together. We have by now 39 direct flights from Vienna to Tel Aviv, and I believe there's still room to improvement there still. But there are many other programs which the two embassies and the ambassadors are pushing forward, and I'm very positive. I said that a couple of years ago. I want to reach a depth and broadness in our relationship that makes it irreversible, basically. And I believe that we are close to this goal, and we're working there. And thank you also to the people in our teams and our embassies who are tirelessly working on that. We have a unique relationship between our two countries, and it means for us that the security of the State of Israel is paramount. And this government will always take a very clear stance and position when Israel's safety is put into question. And you can continue to count on us. And I expressed my full solidarity with Israel regarding the recent attacks from Gaza, and we regret the loss of life on both sides. And I believe Palestinians and Israelis deserve to live in peace. And I also have to say I regret that there is little or no political process for the time being. It's no surprise from our European side there's no viable alternative to a two-state solution. And in this context, I'm worried about recent provocations and steps undermining a possible political horizon. I believe both sides have to work on this, and our situation, our position on settlements is well known by our Israeli friends, and that's something that I underline all the time also. The fact that we are friends, the fact that we are emotional neighbors does not prevent us from obviously also raising issues where either you or us, we might have a different stance, and this is very much okay so. We have discussed briefly the plans for judicial reform. I'm very happy and glad to see that there's a dialogue ongoing within the country. As you rightly pointed out, Israel is the only democracy and functioning democracy in your region, in a very volatile region. And as you said, if you move to the east, the next democracy is India. That says a lot, actually. But we all know that a well-functioning system of checks and balances is a cornerstone to any democracy. And I believe that, and I'm confident that Israel will do nothing to jeopardize this unique stance it has in its region as democracy. We obviously discussed also the developments in the wider Middle East. There are many things going on. You know that Austria is one of the staunchest and most vocal supporters of the Abraham Accords, and we believe this is a policy that has to be continued, and you can count on our support in this respect. And we have seen Assad being re-invited to the Arab League. We have seen, you could say, a rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia, so the cards are mixed again in the region. But from our point of view, I just want to underline, as I said at the beginning, your security, your safety is for us paramount, and that we will always have our policies in the region seen against this background, against this principle of our policies. And yes, I can assure you too that, as we have discussed, we will also contribute in reaching out to countries to normalize their relations with Israel in the form of Abraham Accords or in other forms. So continue to rely on us, and I'm happy to have you here, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you for your warm words. It's really a great pleasure to be here in Austria. It was very important to me to come to Vienna, to emphasize our relations, our strategic relation, and your support in Israel in the multinational arena. And Israel and Austria share a friendship based on mutual respect, shared value, and commitment to peace and prosperity. We agreed to strengthen our partnership in many fields. And actually, we saw that also in the economic ties between the country strengthened in the last year, where the trade volume between the country overpassed the $800 billion with a growth for more than 13%, in which we are willing, of course, to increase the cooperation in technology, green tech, and innovation as well. We also right now receive the exchange of youths that coming from Austria, and I think that this is very important, and this definitely contribute to our relations. I also would like to thank you for all your fight and no tolerant policy in regards to anti-Semitism. And of course, it's appreciated as well between our countries. Our area changed dramatically 3 years ago when we signed the Abraham Accords. We had normalization with 3 countries, the Emirates, Bahrain, and Morocco, which brought prosperity to our region, increased the stability, and I also ask my friends here to be part of, as an observer in the working group in the Abraham Accords as well. 4 months ago, I was the first foreign minister from Israel and from the Middle East who traveled to Kiev and met President Zelensky. We support Ukraine from the first day. We support their integrity and sovereignty. And while we are speaking here, Israeli soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers working together in Poland in order to implement our alert system that will save life of Ukraine civilians. What we are seeing in Ukraine is the footprints of Iran, which Iran is the world #1 who finance terror. We had just the privilege, thanks to our intelligence agencies, to prevent 2 terror attacks that planned by the Iranian in Greek and in France as well. And I think that this is the right time to make a hard diplomatic decision in order to prevent a future war. And I mean especially to the next week, to the meeting of the IAEA Board of Governors that will be held here in Vienna. The organization is facing a crucial decision regarding the handling of the Iranian nuclear threat. I think that the world cannot allow that Iran will have a nuclear weapon. And therefore, we all should be prepared to the meeting in 2 weeks from now, and then after to the UN Council in September in New York. I also would like to react to the issue with the Palestinian and to let you know that from the beginning of the year, 21 Israeli citizens were murdered for only one reason, that they are Jewish. And the Palestinian Authority have the policy to pay incentive to the one who will kill Jewish. This is something which is unacceptable. And I specifically ask your call upon them to cease the payment to terrorists and to stop the policy of pay for slave. In regards to the judicial reform, I would like to emphasize that we in Israel have two important pillars, a Jewish state and a democratic state. And Israel will remain a democracy also after the reform. And I'm very proud that Israel is actually the only country in the Middle East where people can protest, and we will definitely continue to be a strong and a vibrant democracy also after the reform, and I hope we will be able to achieve a broader consensus in regards to this as well. The relations between Israel and Austria are of a great importance to us, and we will continue to work together for prosperity, security, and stability. Alexander, once again, thank you on behalf of the Israeli government and the Israeli people for all your friendship and support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ministers. Are there any questions? Ja, Herr Zawadzki, bitte.
Hello, Clemens Zawadzki, Kronenzeitung. Thank you, Minister, that you gave us an interview prior to your visit to Vienna. You mentioned in this interview, asking you about the new government in Israel, that the majority of the people in Israel are backing the judicial reform. So I was wondering against whom hundreds and thousands are protesting every week.
First, there was 100 protests. There was another protest from the right side for 400,000 people. But Israel is democracy, and the people choose that they are willing to have a reform. And I think that the majority in Israel wants to have a reform, and the majority in Israel are willing that we will find a consensus. And this is what we are doing right now in the President's house, sitting all the parties together from the coalition and from the opposition to find the best solution for Israel.
Any further questions? Herr Schneider, bitte.
Thank you. Wieland Schneider of Die Presse. Mr. Minister, Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, also the Emirates, are now having better ties and relationship with Iran, trying to have better relationships also with the Syrian regime. So what does that mean strategically for Israel and also for the idea of the Abraham Accords?
I will tell you that the exchange ambassador between Saudi Arabia and Tehran, between Riyadh and Tehran, it's just a theater. The real threat on Saudi Arabia, it's Iran, and all of us familiar with the attack that launched by Iran to Saudi Arabia a few years ago. And definitely Saudi Arabia and Israel have a mutual regional interest for increasing the stability in our region, fighting Iran to achieve a nuclear weapon, and to cooperate together in technology and economy as well. And I'm very optimistic that we will be able to expand our relation with more Arab and Muslim countries. We saw how it brings prosperity to our region, the last three agreements.
Thank you. Are there any questions left? I don't see any. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.